Scenic Hotel Group, a place to stay no matter your staycation. From the Legacy Collection for those special occasions to Heartland Hotels with room for the whole whānau. Find your place to stay at scenichotelgroup.co.nz.
Defending champion Crusaders, who open their account next weekend against the Chiefs. Their coach is Scott Robertson, of course, and he joins us now on Weekend Sport. Scott, thanks so much for your time here on News Talk ZB.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Elliott. Appreciate it.
We're counting down to your 7th season in charge of the Crusaders, just days away from your opener against the Chiefs. Can you believe it's been 7 seasons already?
7 seasons has gone quick, yeah. The days are long, but the years are short, especially when you're coaching. You know, Super Rugby is a sprint. You get into it straight away, and it's a race to the top of the table. You know, you get the opportunity to get to hold finals football at home. You know, that gives you the best opportunity, and you live the season. You know, it's a bit different to the Northern Hemisphere, where they're a bit more of a slower grind of a season, where for us, you've got to be right on from round one. And then you get a great little period of time to prepare and plan and recruit for the next year. And, you know, we start this week ahead, so we're excited when we're ready. Yeah.
It's a bit of a cliche, but the target's always on the back of the Crusaders, is it? How do you respond to that every year?
Yeah, we've always got a target. We're always, people, you know, they make the season, when they beat you, they think it's just their final, and, you know, people crying, and you know, they're elated, and that's part of, I suppose, that's when you've been successful, that's all part of who you are, and how do you evolve, how do you get better and realise that you've got to move that target that is on your back.
Do you thrive under that? Is that the kind of thing you like, knowing that each year that ramps up just a little bit more? You know, last year had that close final against the Blues, where you came up and stomped all over them on their own turf. Do you relish that sort of challenge, having the target on your back?
Yeah, I think we get used to it. At the start of the first couple of years, it was probably looking at others. Now we look at ourselves a little bit more and realise that each week is pretty special in its own way, and we're trying to make it, you know, through our theming and our mindsets during the week, and how we enjoy that, and frame it so we see it as, you know, every game is big for us and our opposition. But how do we be at our best each week? How do we be consistent? How do we create an environment that the guys feel like they're getting better? How do we make more All Blacks? How do we keep going, you know, and get excited by that? Because you can get pretty bored. It's just another week, but I pride myself on making sure that every week's special.
The rule changes that were announced during the week, looking to speed up the game. Are you a fan of these changes? Yeah, look, I think the essence of it, it's not going to change a game massively. Like, it's not like a big rule down the breakdown, or a rule that, or a law that's going to change the flow of the game. It's just going to speed it up. So if it's managed well, we as players, coaches, and referees work really tightly together, we're going to get a better product. So, look, I like them. I think it's good. It's evolving when you look at every sport that has, from the NRL to NBA. Everyone's using it to speed the game up with technology and making sure that the fans get a better experience. Do you think that the Blues are your main challenges again? Obviously, you know, took you to a home final last year where you came up and won, as we've discussed. Do you see them as your main rivals again?
Oh, they'll be desperate and hungry. You know, they had a hell of a season, 15 in a row, won some tight games. They under some great challenge, and the Blues were always, you know, always a great rival. Chiefs are pretty special. You know, the semi-final was just as tough, or even tougher in some ways than the final for us. You know, the amount of tackles we need to make to win that. So every one of those challenges is different. All New Zealand teams on their day are tough to beat, and the Aussies have built their squads a bit better. I think they're better than they were 2 or 3 years ago, that's for sure. You know, the Waratahs especially, we know the Brumbies and the Reds have got a great foundation to their team, and a lot of Australian players, but for me, the Waratahs are a big mover.
I wanted to ask you about Jack Goodhue, Scott Robertson with us on News Talk ZB. He's had not a lot of luck, it's fair to say, in the last few years. How do you envisage his year and your campaign going and getting him back to where he needs to be?
Well, look, firstly, Jack's really important to us as a Crusader. We love him. He's been through a lot. His body has taken a good pounding over the years, some big injuries. But what he is a true professional. His ability off the field to, get himself ready, get away from, get himself back to where the point he is now. His injury that he had was a major one. In the way he's training, the way, he's played the last preseason game for us, he was right on. You wouldn't really know. So that's sort of a testament to who he is. We love him, one of the best defensive centres in the world. We just have to manage him, time off, feed on, training in game time, so that he's a joint-compromised athlete, so we've got to make sure that we look after that joint but still get him when we need to and perform on the weekend.
Richie Mo'unga's last year with the franchise, at least for a while, probably Sam Whitelock's as well. Do you harness that? Do you look to compartmentalise it and put it to one side? What's the way that you go about this season for these players that are having their last campaign in a Crusaders shirt?
Yeah, a couple of hell of a names, isn't it? Look, for both of them, we've embraced it and talked about it and said, look, how are you going to leave your mark on the group this year? What does it look like? And here we go again. The first, most important thing is you play well. You can get a little bit sentimental, you can do that afterwards, after you've done the job. And I know Sam's like that. He's very matter of fact. He'll be giving me more pebbles than I'll be giving him, that's for sure. But he's a hell of a man. Crusaders meant a lot to him. He's always performed on the biggest stage. I'm just so pleased for him and his, proud Whitelock family for what they've achieved. And, we want to send them on the right note, just like Richie, as I mentioned before, a franchise quarterback and incredible player in Super Rugby history. He'd be ranked up there as one of the greats. And for us, he's so important. And we're just pleased that, he's made a decision to hit Japan and do the right thing he thinks is for his family and see him back in a few years' time.
I noticed you mentioned quarterback. I think you've used that term before. Do you take a bit out of, I guess, those American sporting franchises where, you see Tom Brady, those sort of players that do have those careers where they become, the franchise player, Patrick Mahomes this week winning a Super Bowl. Do you take a look at those sports from overseas a bit like that?
Yeah, we do. We've themed, we've done Golden State Warriors before. They were chasing 3 and we were chasing 3, so it was a bit of a dual, live theme. And we just looked at what made Steph great, what made the players around him and how he lifted the team when it was required. They obviously didn't quite get there. Lost to Toronto in the final, but, just probably the story along the way and how hard they had to work and, how they kept mastering their craft over and over and over again. What did Curry do to keep himself inspired? What was his daily habits to make him feel that he could perform on the biggest stage over and over again? And then probably the most important thing, they just cared really deeply about playing for them. So there was a combination of it all. So yeah, we do use examples of other teams to unite and inspire us.
Scott Robertson with us. Just a couple of final ones, if I can, please. Look, the All Blacks rest this year, no more than 5 games in a row. Look, that's been around for a wee while. Is it any different to usual for you? What goes into the planning around that? Have you got a spreadsheet in your office at Rugby Park? Yeah. How does that work? Me and Angus Garner do a little bit of work on that. Gentleman's Rugby is a great man and a good boss to have, Gus. Look, we're experienced around it. We look at the opportunity in it just as much as the management. We feel that, that we have to manage our guys and we want to do the right thing for the All Black players so that they feel fresh at the end of the year and that they've got the opportunity that we can bring a young guy through. So we set it up, at least we're planned. We've worked with them. Now we know what we're going to do 2 weeks before, who's going to step in for any of those All Blacks so that we've got continuity and cohesion. So
we manage it well.
Just finally, Scott, look, obviously this has been a point of discussion. I know you don't have a lot to add on it, but the distraction around this All Blacks coaching job, how easy is it for you to have this interview, discuss this, coach your Super Rugby team ahead of next week against the Chiefs while this is all swirling around?
I've learned. I'll let it swirl. Like I said, I'll leave any of those questions up to NZR. I think it's appropriate, and I'm sure you understand.
Absolutely. Hey, Scott, best of luck for the season ahead. Look forward to seeing you and the Chiefs go at it Friday night. Appreciate your time with us here on News Talk ZB.
Cheers, Elliott. Thanks for your time. See you.
Hello, I'm Francesca Rudkin.
And I'm Louise Erie, and we're excited to be working with the New Zealand Herald on our new podcast, The Little Things.
So Louise and I have been friends for probably over 13 years now, and we've been through it all: kids, relationships, health crises,
menopause.
Let's not get into that just yet.
But I think we can both agree that there are times we just wish we had one place to go for some explanations on what's going on with our bodies, our kids, and the relationships in our lives.
And this podcast is all about those little things that women need to know about getting older, raising kids, staying healthy, and taking care of yourself at whatever age and stage you're at.
So join us every Saturday to hear from the experts and get all the advice and tips you need.
Listen to The Little Things at nzherald.co.nz or follow us at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.